For the enemy's young, he took the blow. Now the alien mother wants him. He had learned long ago that frontier planets never stayed quiet for long. The sky over Karos 9 was the color of dull steel, heavy with dust and charged clouds. Wind dragged fine sand across broken rock, whispering against armor and rifles. The human patrol moved carefully along a ridge, boots sinking slightly with every step. They had orders to observe only. No fighting, no mistakes. The ceasefire with the alien empire was fragile, like thin glass stretched over old anger. Sergeant Elias Rowan walked near the front of the patrol. He was not the tallest soldier, nor the loudest. He simply watched. Years on border worlds had taught him that danger did not always announce itself with noise. Sometimes it arrived quietly when everyone thought nothing would happen. Their scanners showed movement ahead. "Alien patrol," the squad leader whispered. "Distance, 200 meters. Weapons up but hold fire." Elias slowed his breathing. He raised his rifle but did not aim it. Across the shallow valley, figures emerged from the haze, tall, broad-shouldered aliens with layered armor and long, angular helmets. They were armed just like the humans. Both groups stopped at the same time. No one fired. This was how border days often went. Two sides staring, waiting, measuring. A single wrong move could turn a ceasefire into a massacre. The wind howled louder and a crack of thunder rolled far away. Elias shifted his weight, careful not to look aggressive. He noticed small details. The way one alien officer's hand hovered too close to a weapon, the way a human soldier behind him tightened their grip. Then something unexpected happened. From behind a cluster of rocks near the alien line, a small shape stumbled into view. Elias frowned. It was an alien child. The child was much smaller than the armored soldiers, thin-limbed and unprotected. Its skin was pale blue-gray, patterned with faint lines that shimmered when the light hit them. The child looked around in confusion, clearly unaware of where it was. A battlefield, a living one. "Command," Elias whispered urgently into his comm. "There's a non-combatant." Alien juvenile. Before command could respond, the situation broke apart. One of the alien soldiers shouted something sharp and alarmed. Another stepped forward too fast. On the human side, someone mistook the movement for an attack. A weapon powered up. Elias turned his head just in time to see the glow build. An energy shot charging, unstable, already released before anyone could stop it. The blast was aimed low, straight toward the child. Time slowed in a way Elias would never forget. He did not think about orders. He did not think about the ceasefire or the empire or politics or blame. He saw only a small being frozen in fear, eyes wide, unable to understand why the world had suddenly become so loud. Elias moved. He broke formation and ran downhill, boots sliding on loose rock. Shouts filled the air, human voices yelling his name, alien voices shouting warnings, but he ignored them all. The energy blast screamed through the air. Elias threw himself between the child and the blast. Pain hit him like a wall. The force lifted him off his feet and slammed him into the ground. Heat tore through his armor, burned through layers meant to stop far worse than this. His body felt heavy, numb, and burning all at once. The blast dispersed against his armor and the rocks behind him, leaving scorched stone and drifting smoke. Silence followed, the kind of silence that feels louder than gunfire. Elias lay on his back, staring at the gray sky. His chest hurt every time he tried to breathe. His vision blurred at the edges. He knew he was badly injured, but he was still alive. Barely. The child stood a few steps away, untouched. Alien soldiers rushed forward, weapons raised, surrounding both Elias and the child. Human soldiers did the same from the opposite side, shouting, confused, terrified. "Hold your fire," someone screamed. The child made a small, broken sound and dropped to its knees. An alien officer reached it first, lifting the child and pulling it close, shielding it with their own body. Across the valley, every weapon slowly lowered. No one understood what had just happened. Elias coughed and tasted blood. He turned his head slightly, enough to see the child safe in the alien officer's arms. That was enough. His eyes closed. When he woke again, the world felt different. He was not on the battlefield. Soft light glowed above him, pale and steady. The air smelled clean, sharp, unfamiliar. Machines hummed quietly around him. His body ached everywhere, but the burning pain had dulled. Elias tried to move and failed. He was restrained. Panic flared, but he forced it down. He focused on breathing. His armor was gone, replaced by a simple medical covering. Tubes ran into his arms and chest. Alien medical technology. He was not in human hands. Footsteps approached. Elias turned his head slowly. An alien entered the room. This one was unarmored, taller than most he had seen, with markings along the face and neck that suggested high rank. The alien stopped near the bed and studied him silently. "You are awake," the alien said, speaking slow, careful human language. Elias swallowed. "Seems so." "You understand where you are." "Alien medical facility," Elias said, "which means I'm your prisoner." The alien tilted its head slightly. "You are under observation." That was not reassuring. "Why am I alive?" Elias asked quietly. The alien did not answer right away. Instead, it activated a screen beside the bed. A recording appeared: the battlefield, the child, the blast. Elias watched himself run, watched himself fall. The alien paused the recording at the moment Elias stepped in front of the blast. "You took a lethal strike," the alien said. "For one of our young." Elias nodded faintly. "Didn't feel lethal at the time." "It was," the alien replied. "Your survival required immediate intervention." Elias stared at the ceiling. "Then I guess, thanks." The alien studied him again, longer this time. "Our people do not understand your action," it said. "You had no obligation, no gain." Elias closed his eyes. "Didn't need one." The alien said nothing, but Elias sensed something shift in the room, like tension pulled too tight and then released. "You will rest," the alien said at last. "You are not to be harmed." "By whose order?" Elias asked. The alien hesitated. "By hers." Elias opened his eyes. "Hers?" The alien met his gaze. "The mother of the child you saved." Elias felt a strange mix of relief and unease. "And who is she?" The alien's voice lowered, respectful. "She is one of our highest commanders." The words settled heavy in the air. Elias turned his head slightly, staring at the faint reflection of himself in the smooth wall. He had not meant to change anything. He had only acted. Yet somewhere beyond this room, an alien mother knew his name. And the galaxy had begun to notice. Elias Rowan did not sleep much after that. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the blast again, the flash of light, the sound tearing through the air, the moment his body decided before his mind could argue. When he did sleep, it was shallow and broken, filled with strange dreams of wind, stone, and small, frightened eyes. The alien medical room remained quiet. Machines monitored his heartbeat and breath. Soft light adjusted itself when his eyes opened. He learned the rhythm of the place quickly. Alien nurses came and went, moving with smooth efficiency. They spoke little, but when they did, their voices were calm. None of them treated him like an enemy. That made Elias more uneasy than chains ever could. On the third cycle, he guessed it was the third, an alien guard appeared at the doorway, taller than the medical staff, armored, watchful. "You will receive a visitor," the guard said. Elias turned his head slightly. "Let me guess, the commander." "The mother," the guard corrected. The words settled deep in Elias' chest. He had imagined this moment more than once. Anger, accusations, maybe cold judgment. He did not know what an alien mother would look like when facing the human who nearly died for her child. The door slid open without sound. She entered alone. She was taller than any alien Elias had seen before, her presence filling the room without effort. Her armor was ceremonial, layered and dark, etched with symbols that caught the light. Her skin carried deeper markings than the others, glowing faintly along her arms and face, signs of rank and lineage. Her eyes locked onto Elia's immediately. They were not hostile, they were searching. The door closed behind her. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Elias broke the silence first. "Your child is safe." "Yes," she said. Her voice was steady, controlled, unharmed. Elias let out a slow breath he had not realized he was holding. "Good." She stepped closer, stopping at the side of the medical bed. She looked down at him, not as a soldier studying a prisoner, but as a mother studying a stranger who had changed her life. "You knew what would happen," she said. "You knew the blast would kill you." "I knew it might," Elias replied. "Didn't think about much else." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Why?" He considered his answer carefully. "Because children don't belong on battlefields, no matter what species they are." The alien commander absorbed his words in silence. "In our culture," she said slowly, "strength is proven by survival. By dominance, mercy is often seen as weakness." Elias shifted slightly, pain flaring along his ribs. "In ours, strength is proven by what you're willing to protect." She watched his reaction, the small wince he tried to hide. Her gaze dropped to the medical readouts, the signs of damage still healing. "You will carry scars," she said. Elias gave a faint smile. "Not my first." That surprised her. "You have done this before," she said, not a question. "Not like this," Elias replied. "But I've stepped in front of danger before. Comes with the job." She straightened. "You are a soldier, yet you chose an act that gave your people no advantage." "I didn't think about people," Elias said. "Just a kid." Another pause. She turned away from him and walked a few steps, her hands clasped behind her back. When she spoke again, her voice was lower. "My child has not stopped asking about you." Elias blinked. "About me?" "She does not understand why a human protected her," the commander said. "She believes you are injured because of her." "That's not true," Elias said quickly. "It wasn't her fault." "I know," the commander replied, "but she does not." She faced him again. "In our society, a life debt is sacred, a child's life most of all." Elias frowned slightly. "I didn't do it for a debt." "That does not change what it means to us," she said. A faint tension filled the room, not hostile, but heavy with unspoken consequences. "Some among my people demand your execution," she continued. "They believe your survival is an insult. A weakness exposed." Elias met her gaze calmly. "And you," her jaw tightened, "I believe you acted with a kind of strength we do not teach." Footsteps echoed outside the room. Another alien entered, this one older, markings faded with age. It bowed slightly to the commander before addressing her in their own language. Their exchange was brief but intense. Elias understood none of the words, but the tone was clear. Disagreement. When the elder left, the commander turned back to Elias. "You are becoming a problem," she said honestly. Elias exhaled. "I get that a lot." Despite herself, a small shift crossed her face. Not quite a smile, but something close. "You will remain here," she said, "under my protection." "That's comforting," Elias said dryly. "I think." "It is dangerous," she replied, "but necessary." Over the following days, Elias learned what that meant. News of his act spread through the alien empire. Recordings circulated. Some called it deception. Others called it madness. A few whispered a word rarely used for humans. Honorable, Elias recovered slowly. His strength returned in small pieces. Each step he took without help felt like a victory. Alien doctors monitored him closely, adjusting treatments, asking careful questions. One day, as he practiced walking with support rails, a familiar presence entered the room. The commander was not alone. A small figure clung to her side. The child. The child peeked out from behind the commander's leg, eyes wide, curious, afraid, and something else Elias recognized. Guilt. The commander knelt and spoke softly to the child, encouraging. The child hesitated, then took a few steps forward. Elias lowered himself to one knee with effort, ignoring the sharp pain. He wanted to be smaller, less frightening. "Hey," he said gently, "you're okay." The child tilted her head. "You are broken," she said in careful human words. Elias smiled softly. "A little, but I'll heal." "Because of me," the child said. Elias shook his head slowly. "Because of the blast, not because of you." The child studied his face, searching for truth. Finally, she stepped closer and reached out, touching his sleeve lightly. "Thank you," she said. The room went very still. The commander watched closely, her expression unreadable. Elias swallowed past the tightness in his throat. "You're welcome." From that moment on, everything changed. The child's visit made silence impossible. Word spread further. More voices within the empire began to question old beliefs. Humans, once painted as monsters, now had a living example that challenged every lesson, but not everyone accepted it. One night, alarms echoed through the facility. Red light flooded the halls. Elias was halfway asleep when armed figures burst into the medical wing. Alien soldiers, but not the kind he had grown used to. Their armor was darker, their movements sharp and aggressive. "Get him out," one of them said. Elias tried to stand, pain exploding through him. "Guess protection has limits," he muttered. Before they could reach him, the commander stepped into the room. Her presence stopped them cold. "This human is under my protection," she said, voice like iron. "Stand down." "This is not your decision alone," one soldier replied. "He is a symbol of weakness." "He is a symbol of choice," she answered, "and I will not allow you to erase that." Tension crackled in the air. For a moment, Elias thought blood would spill. Then the soldiers backed away. When the doors sealed again, the commander turned to Elias, her expression strained. "You see now," she said quietly, "your existence is changing things." Elias sat heavily on the bed. "I didn't mean to." "That no longer matters," she replied. "What matters is what comes next." Outside the facility, unseen by both human and alien governments, something else stirred. A threat older than the ceasefire. A force that would not care about mercy, children, or debts. And when it arrived, both sides would remember the human who took the blow for an enemy's young, and the alien mother who refused to let him fall again. The alarms did not stop after that night. They became part of the air inside the alien facility, soft alerts, sharp warnings, distant signals that something was always happening somewhere else. Elias Rowan felt it even when the halls were quiet. The Empire was no longer calm. It was thinking, arguing, pulling itself in different directions. And somehow, he was at the center of it. He stood near a wide viewing window, leaning slightly on a support rail. Beyond the transparent wall stretched the surface of the alien homeworld. Towering structures rose like carved stone, smooth and strong, built to last for ages. Ships moved silently through the sky, their paths precise and controlled. Order, that was what this empire valued most. "You should be resting." The voice came from behind him. The alien commander, mother to the child he had saved, entered the room. She moved without armor today, dressed in formal robes that marked her rank even more clearly than weapons ever could. "I am resting," Elias said, "just standing while I do it." She studied him for a moment. "You are healing faster than expected." "Human stubbornness," Elias replied, "hard to get rid of." She almost smiled, almost. "Come," she said, "there is something you must see." They walked through guarded corridors, past soldiers who now watched Elias with mixed expressions. Some looked away. Some nodded slightly. A few stared openly, unsure what to think of a human walking freely beside one of their highest commanders. They entered a chamber Elias had never seen before. It was a council room. Rows of elevated platforms circled a wide open floor. Holographic displays hovered in the air, showing star systems, movement paths, energy readings. The room was filled with aliens of high rank, their markings complex, their posture tense. Conversation died the moment Elias stepped inside. "This is a mistake," one of them said sharply. "He should not be here," another added. The commander raised her hand and silence returned. "He will observe," she said, "nothing more." Elias stayed near the wall, doing exactly that. The The displays shifted. A new image appeared, a dark region of space, distorted, unstable. This force has been detected moving along the outer systems, an alien strategist explained. It does not communicate. It does not negotiate. Elias leaned forward slightly. What does it do? It erases, the strategist said. Worlds vanished from the display. Entire systems dimmed and disappeared. Elias felt a cold knot form in his stomach. They don't choose sides, the commander said. They consume everything. Murmurs filled the room. They will reach human space next, one council member said, and then ours. Let them weaken each other, another argued. We can strike what remains. Elias could not stay silent anymore. That won't work. Every eye turned to him. The commander did not stop him. These kinds of threats don't care about borders, Elias continued. If you wait, there won't be anything left to strike. This human presumes much, a council member snapped. He has faced similar enemies, the commander said calmly. Let him speak. Elias took a breath. Where I come from, we've learned something the hard way. When something wants to wipe out everything, the only answer is unity, even if it feels impossible. Silence followed. One of the elders leaned forward. You ask us to trust humans. I ask you to trust survival, Elias replied, and your own instincts. You already trusted one human once. Eyes shifted toward the commander. She did not deny it. After the council dismissed him, Elias returned to the medical wing, his thoughts heavy. He knew he had crossed a line. He was a guest, protected but still an outsider. That night the child came to see him again. She sat near his bed, swinging her legs gently. She had grown more comfortable around him, her fear replaced by curiosity. Mother says bad stars are coming, she said. Elias nodded. That's one way to put it. Will they hurt people, she asked. Yes, Elias said softly, if no one stops them. She was quiet for a long moment. Then you will help. It was not a question. Elias smiled sadly. I'll try. The attack came sooner than expected. The first reports arrived like a shockwave. Outposts destroyed. Fleets gone silent. The dark force moved faster than predicted, adapting, learning. Alien ships scrambled. Human command sent urgent messages through broken channels. The ceasefire shattered, not into war, but into panic. Elias stood beside the commander on the bridge of a massive alien warship. Screens flickered with incoming data, losses stacking too fast to count. They are targeting population centers now, an officer said. The commander's hands clenched. Deploy evacuation fleets. We won't make it in time, another replied. Elias stared at the screen, mind racing. You're fighting them like a fleet, he said. That's not how you beat something like this. The commander turned. Then how? You protect lives first, Elias said. Not territory, force them to chase what they can't predict. She considered his words. You want chaos. I want survival, Elias answered. She gave a sharp order. Change strategy, evacuate first, scatter fleets. The officers hesitated, then obeyed. The dark force adapted, but slower now. Confused by empty targets, moving supply lines, unpredictable patterns. It was not enough. During one evacuation, a civilian convoy was trapped. The commander's ship moved to intercept, weapons firing, shields flaring. A massive energy surge struck the hull. Systems failed. Lights died. We're losing control, someone shouted. Elias was thrown to the floor. Pain flared through his half-healed body, but he forced himself up. We can't outrun them, the commander said, voice tight. If we stay, the convoy escapes. If we leave, Elias met her eyes. Then stay. She searched his face. This ship may not survive. I know, Elias said. But the people will. She turned to the bridge crew. Hold position. The ship shook violently as it absorbed hit after hit. Hull plating melted. Fires broke out. Elias moved through smoke and chaos, helping where he could, dragging injured crew, sealing ruptured doors, refusing to stop even when his body screamed at him to rest. In one corridor, he found the child's transport module damaged, power failing. He froze. No, he whispered. He forced the door open, heart pounding. The child was inside, frightened but alive. "I'm here," he said, kneeling despite the pain. "I've got you." The ship lurched again. Elias shielded her with his body as debris rained down. For the second time in his life, he chose the same thing. When the ship finally jumped to safety, systems dead, hull broken, silence filled the aftermath. The convoy had escaped. Lives were saved. Elias collapsed beside the child, barely conscious. When he woke, the commander was there. "You did it again," she said quietly. Elias smiled weakly. "Guess I'm consistent." She placed a hand over his, a gesture no alien commander had ever offered a human. "You are no longer just under my protection," she said. "You are part of this fight." Outside the damaged ship, human and alien fleets regrouped, and for the first time they did so together. The galaxy was changing, not because of weapons, but because one human refused to let a child face the darkness alone. The war did not end in one battle. It ended in many small choices. Across the stars, human and alien ships flew side by side for the first time in history. Their designs were different, their systems unfamiliar to each other, but their goal was the same: to protect life. Command channels stayed open. Information flowed freely. Old mistrust did not vanish, but it was pushed aside by something stronger: necessity. Elias Rowan became a name spoken on many ships, not as a hero in shining armor, but as an example. A reminder that one decision could change the direction of many lives. He hated the attention, but he accepted the responsibility that came with it. He stood on the bridge of a rebuilt alien warship, leaning on the rail as he watched the fleet form up. His body still carried pain, scars layered over scars, but he could stand on his own again. That was enough. The alien commander stood beside him. She no longer wore only the symbols of rank. She wore something new, a small human insignia fixed to her armor, placed there by her own choice. It was subtle, but its meaning was clear. The dark force moved again. This time it moved toward a system filled with refugees. Human and alien civilians gathered together after weeks of evacuation. There was no running left. If the force reached them, millions would vanish. "This is where we hold," the commander said. Elias nodded. "Then we hold." The plan was simple and dangerous. The combined fleet would not try to destroy the dark force outright. They would surround the refugee system, forming layers of defense. Ships would rotate, absorbing damage, pulling back only when necessary. Fighters would distract, draw fire, and vanish. Supply ships would move constantly, never staying in one place. And at the center of it all, a single beacon. Elias stood in the command chamber as engineers activated it. The beacon pulsed with energy tuned to the dark force's sensors. Bright, loud, impossible to ignore. "It will see this as a challenge," an alien strategist said. "Good," Elias replied. "Let it focus on us." The dark force arrived like a shadow swallowing light. Space twisted around it. Sensors screamed. The first wave of ships took heavy damage, but they held. Human pilots flew with alien escorts. Alien gunners adjusted fire based on human tactics. It was messy. It was imperfect. It worked. The dark force reacted slowly at first, confused by the layered defense, the constant movement. It struck hard but could not break through. Then it adapted. Energy beams tore through shields. Entire ships were lost in seconds. "We're losing the outer ring," someone shouted. Elias gripped the rail. "Pull them back. Rotate fresh ships in." The commander issued the orders without hesitation. At the heart of the system, evacuation ships continued to launch, carrying civilians farther away, one jump at a time. Time mattered more than victory. The dark force pushed harder, sensing the life it wanted slipping away. A massive surge built at its core. "It's charging something big," an officer warned. Elias stared at the readings. "If it fires that, the system's gone." The commander's gaze hardened. "Then we stop it." "How?" another officer demanded. "We don't have the firepower." Elias thought of the battlefield on Karos 9, of a child frozen in fear, of a choice made without thinking. "We don't need to destroy it," he said slowly. "We need to make it follow." The room went quiet. "You want to bait it," the commander said. "Yes," Elias replied. "Lead it away from the system, far enough that when it fires it hits nothing." "That would require a ship to stay in its path," an officer said. "Too close, too long." Elias met the commander's eyes. "I'll do it." "No," she said immediately. "I know how it thinks," Elias said. "I've watched it adapt. It goes for what protects others, for what stands in front." "That is exactly why I will not allow it," she said. He smiled softly. "That's exactly why it has to be me." Silence stretched between them. The child watched from the doorway, holding a small data tablet, eyes wide. The commander noticed. Her expression broke, just a little. She walked to Elias and placed both hands on his shoulders. "You have already given enough." "So have you," Elias said. "Let me give a little more." The dark force began to move again, turning toward the refugee corps. There was no more time. The commander straightened. "Prepare a strike ship," she said. Her voice was steady, but her eyes never left Elias. "Minimal crew. Maximum speed." The ship launched moments later, cutting through space like a blade. Elias stood alone on the bridge, systems set to manual control. The beacon's signal burned bright, louder than before. The dark force turned. It followed. Energy strikes hammered the ship. Shields failed. Hull damage spread. Elias held course. "Come on," he whispered. "Just a little farther." Behind him, the combined fleet tightened their defense, buying time. Evacuation ships jumped away one by one. The dark force charged its weapon. Elias pushed the ship to its limits, engines screaming. At the last possible moment, he triggered the final command. The beacon overloaded. A burst of energy flooded space, blinding sensors, confusing targeting systems. The dark force fired. The blast tore through empty space. The strike ship vanished in the light. When the sensors cleared, the dark force was gone, damaged, disoriented, retreating into the void. The refugee system was safe. Silence followed. On the flagship, the commander stared at the empty space where Elias' signal had been. "No," she whispered. Hours later, search teams found wreckage and a life pod. Elias was alive, barely. When he woke, the child was there, holding his hand. "You came back," she said. "Had a good reason," Elias replied weakly. The commander stood behind her, eyes shining with emotion she did not hide. "You are family now," she said. In the weeks that followed, treaties were signed. Borders softened. Joint fleets became permanent. Elias returned to human space one last time. He did not stay. Instead, he accepted a new role, bridge between species, protector of those who could not protect themselves. On a quiet world far from war, he watched the child laugh under an open sky. The alien mother stood beside him. "You changed everything," she said. Elias shook his head. "No, I just stood in the way." Above them, human and alien ships traced peaceful paths through the stars. And the galaxy remembered the day a human took the blow for the enemy's young and became something more than a soldier. He became hope.